You're working harder than your parents ever did, and you're still broke. That's not an accident. Someone benefits from your exhaustion. Let me guess, you're weak. 60-hour grind, multiple jobs, or one soul-crushing career. You follow the rules, show up early, stay late, kiss the ring, and watch mediocre people pass you by. You've been sold a story. Work hard and you'll succeed. Keep your head down. Your time will come. Machiavelli understood something 5 centuries ago that you're just now discovering. The game is rigged, but not the way you think. The poor don't stay poor because they're lazy. They stay poor because they worship at the altar of effort. They confuse motion with progress, sweat with strategy. And the rich, they let you believe the lie, because your hard work makes them wealthy. Your poverty isn't a character flaw, it's a strategic failure. You're playing checkers in a chess tournament, and nobody told you the rules changed. Here's what you're about to learn. First, why effort without leverage is just expensive slavery. Second, the Machiavellian principle. The rich used to multiply wealth while you multiply hours. Third, how hard work became the perfect psychological trap. Fourth, the 3 forms of capital nobody teaches the working class. Fifth, why your honesty is keeping you poor. Sixth, the brutal mathematics of labor versus ownership. And finally, the exact mindset shift that separates earners from builders. Stay until the end, because the final principle will make you question everything you were taught about money. Let's destroy some comfortable lies. You're confusing activity with achievement. Picture a hamster wheel. Beautiful engineering, perfect circular motion. Constant activity, zero progress. That's you. That's most people. You measure your worth in hours, in exhaustion, in how much you sacrifice today. The system loves this about you. Machiavelli wrote, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." Translation, they promised you hard work pays off. They broke that promise the moment you believed it. Here's the psychological trap: covert contracts. You think the universe owes you success because you suffered. The universe doesn't care. Your boss doesn't care. The market definitely doesn't care. Actionable tactics: audit your last month. Count hours worked versus income generated. Calculate your true hourly rate, including commute, prep time, and unpaid overtime. Ask yourself, am I being compensated for effort or for results? Identify one task you do that creates zero leverage. Stop doing it this week. The wolf doesn't work harder than the deer. It works smarter. It understands timing, terrain, and weakness. But here's what makes this trap truly diabolical. Why rich people barely work at all. Count to 3. Think of the wealthiest person you know personally. How many hours do they work compared to you? Probably fewer, definitely with less sweat. This isn't luck. This is information asymmetry weaponized. The rich understand one equation. The poor never learn. Value equals impact times leverage. Your impact is capped at 1. You are one person, one set of hands, one brain, one body that breaks down. Their impact is multiplied by other people's labor, by systems, by capital, by information. Machiavelli knew this. Whoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times. The poor work on their income. The rich work on their income. You trade time for money. Linear relationship. More hours equals more money until you collapse. They trade money for time. Exponential relationship. They buy your hours at wholesale and sell the output at retail. Actionable tactics. Identify 3 things you currently do manually. Research automation or delegation options. Ask, if I couldn't work for 3 months, would income continue? If no, you have zero leverage. Study one business in your field that scales without proportional labor increase. You're not competing with other workers, you're competing with machines and systems. And you brought fists to a drone fight. The third principle gets darker. How work ethic became mind control. Let me radicalize you for 60 seconds. Hard work is the most successful propaganda campaign in human history, more effective than religion, more subtle than nationalism. It serves one purpose: keep you grinding while someone else profits. Think about who taught you to value hard work. Parents who worked themselves to death? Teachers employed by the state? Media funded by corporations? Notice a pattern. Every messenger benefits from your obedience. This is manufactured consent applied to labor. The hyenas don't hunt alone. They hunt in packs with agreed-upon lies. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions." Your immediate need? Survival, rent, food. Their deception? Just work harder. Meanwhile, they own the assets, set the wages, change the rules, capture the surplus value. Actionable tactics. List 5 beliefs you hold about money. Ask, who taught me this and what do they gain? Identify one virtue you've internalized that makes you easier to exploit. Question this: is my work ethic serving me or someone else's business model? The poor worship scarcity. The rich engineer abundance. Guess who designed the religion? But the next principle is where it gets surgical. The wealth forms they hide from you. You think wealth is money. That's exactly what they want you to think. There are 3 forms of capital. The poor have access to one. The rich deploy all 3 simultaneously. Capital 1, financial capital, money, assets, liquid wealth. This is where you focus all your energy. This is the weakest form, because it depletes with use. Capital 2, social capital. Networks, relationships, access, reputation. This is what opens doors money can't. This is what the rich inherit and the poor must build. This multiplies financial capital. Capital 3, cultural capital. Knowledge, credentials, tastes, signals, insider languages. This determines which rooms you're allowed to enter. This is the invisible barrier you keep hitting. Machiavelli understood the lion cannot protect himself from traps and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. Financial capital makes you a lion. Social capital makes you a fox. Cultural capital lets you choose which to be. Actionable tactics. Map your social capital. Who do you know with decision-making power? If the list is short, you're isolated. Invest in cultural capital this month. Read what the wealthy read. Learn their signals. Study their environment. Ask, am I building assets or just accumulating possessions? The poor collect things. The rich collect capabilities. You're saving money in a checking account. They're buying equity in your employer. See the asymmetry? And now the most uncomfortable truth: why your integrity keeps you poor. This will sting. Your honesty is a luxury you can't afford. Your transparency is strategic suicide. I'm not telling you to become a liar. I'm telling you to recognize that information is ammunition, and you keep handing your enemies loaded weapons. The rich understand strategic capacity. They don't lie. They simply reveal nothing that doesn't serve them. You tell your boss you're unhappy, you just lost negotiating power. You share your salary with co-workers, you just got played by HR. You post your struggles online, you just broadcast vulnerability to predators. Machiavelli said it simply: never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception. The poor confuse authenticity with weakness exhibition. This is just who I am. I'm keeping it real. I don't play games. Congratulations. You brought moral purity to an amoral battlefield. How's that working financially? Actionable tactics. Practice information discipline. Before sharing anything, ask, does this serve my interests? Study the difference between lying and strategic silence. Master the second. Conductor, leak, audit. What information about you is public that weakens your position? The fox doesn't announce where the den is. The snake doesn't telegraph the strike. You're walking around with your strategy tattooed on your forehead and wondering why people exploit it. This connects to the mathematical reality. Labor is slavery with extra steps. Let me show you the mathematics of your oppression. You work, you generate value, let's say $100 per hour of value. You're paid $25. Where does the $75 go? Overhead. Some. Mostly it's profit. Someone else's profit. From your effort. This is surplus value extraction. Marx called it exploitation. I call it Tuesday. The entire system is designed around this equation. Owner's wealth equals workers' output minus workers' wage. To maximize the left side, they must minimize the right side. Your raise is their loss. Your efficiency is their gain. Your loyalty is their leverage. Machiavelli observed, men ought either to be well treated or crushed, because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries, of more serious ones they cannot. Translation? Keep you comfortable enough not to rebel, but desperate enough to stay obedient. Actionable tactics. Calculate your profit margin. How much value do you create versus what you're paid? If you can't measure it, you can't negotiate it. Ask, do I own any of what I build? If no, you're renting out your life. Identify one way to convert your labor into ownership this year. Equity, IP, assets, anything you keep. The poor sell ours, the rich buy ours. The slave doesn't realize the chain is a paycheck. And here's the final principle. The psychology that changes everything. Everything up to now has been demolition. Now we rebuild. The shift from poverty to wealth isn't about money, it's about locus of control. Do you see yourself as subject or sovereign? The poor have an external locus. The economy is bad. My boss won't promote me. The system is rigged. All true, all irrelevant, because victimhood is the most expensive mindset you can afford. It costs you agency, and agency is the only thing that matters. The wealthy have an internal locus, not because they're delusional, because they understand something about power. Power flows to those who act as if they already have it. Machiavelli's most brutal truth. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Stop trying to be loved by the system. Stop seeking approval from those who profit from your limitation. Actionable tactics. Reframe every complaint as a strategy question. I'm underpaid becomes, how do I create undeniable value? Adopt the sovereign question. What would I do if I already had the power I'm waiting for? Commit to one decision this week that scares you because it asserts ownership over your trajectory. The lion doesn't ask permission to hunt. The wolf doesn't apologize for surviving. You've been domesticated, trained to ask for scraps, to be grateful for what's yours by right. Your anger right now, that discomfort, that's not weakness. That's your instinct recognizing the cage. Use it, channel it, don't suppress it into polite poverty. Let's bring this full circle. You started this video thinking hard work was the problem. Now you know the truth. Hard work isn't the problem. Working hard for someone else's dream is. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed, to extract maximum value from minimum compensation. And you can either be crushed by this reality, or you can weaponize it. Recap what you learned. 1. Effort without leverage is expensive slavery. 2. Value comes from impact multiplied by leverage, not hours multiplied by effort. 3. Work ethic is propaganda designed to make you compliant. 4. The wealthy deploy 3 forms of capital simultaneously while you focus on 1. 5. Information asymmetry is power. Stop bleeding intelligence. 6. Labor will never make you wealthy. Ownership will. 7. Sovereignty is a mindset before it's a bank account. Here's what happens if you ignore this. 5 years from now, you'll be working harder, making slightly more, and still wondering why wealth feels impossible, because you'll still be playing the employee game, optimizing for raises instead of equity, trading time for money instead of building assets, believing the lie that someone will reward your suffering, or you internalize this. You shift from labor to leverage, from time seller to value creator, from subject to sovereign. And 5 years from now, you'll watch someone else complain about working hard, and you'll remember when that was you, before you understood the game. If this rewired something in your brain, subscribe, because the next video dissects how the rich use legal loopholes you've never heard of. Comment Severai Gen below if you're done asking permission. I want to see who's ready to think differently. The herd stays comfortable, the predator stays hungry. Which one are you?